Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve with Sense of Fidelity. I'm coming at you at 10:01 p.m., May the 27th, 2026. Good evening, good night, good morning, whenever, wherever you are. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch is in, and Iowa's up in beautiful Iowa up there right now in the chat, along with Walter Mack. And he's asking for prayers for South Kakalaki's Governor Henry McMaster, whose birthday is today. He does that. I'm glad Walter does that. He comes on here and he'll actually post in local people and whose birthdays going on today, or governors and things like that, which is good. More people need to do stuff like what he's doing and asking people to pray for XYZ, not just for one person who lives in the Whitey House. It's the only guy we ever told to pray for. It's kind of weird. Anyway, how are you? Hope you're doing well whenever, wherever you are. As I said earlier, let's get right to it. All right. So during the whole thing of putting Monday when that came out with the what do you call it? The Encyclical. I had to do it. It was on my head. I mean, you know it. We did a 2-hour show on the on Clown Planet, which was mostly the Encyclical stuff, right? So then I had to touch on a little bit of what the AP brought up about the slavery thing. And I mean, it was all over the place. I have a link in here. Where's it at? Oh yeah, here it is right here. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Jacqueline Alina, this is one of the ways that we are seeing Pope Leo stand out, both in the issues that he takes on and the language that he uses. In this case, talking about the institution itself in a way that it hasn't been talked about before.
1 year after Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was announced as the new Pope, Pope Leo is releasing a document setting him apart from his predecessors. Other popes have released papal writings called encyclicals, but Pope Leo's message on humanity and artificial intelligence also addresses the church's culpability for slavery in a new way.
It's different from what we've heard from previous popes in that what Pope Leo has done with this document is invoke the church as an institution.
Dr. Tia Noel Pratt is special assistant to the vice president for mission and ministry at Villanova University.
Is there something that held previous popes back from going as far as he did?
When we talk about, particularly when we talk about racism, it is what happens most frequently is leaving that conversation at an individual level.
She says that difference matters.
He has taken this conversation to the next level and taken it to the institutional level, which has not happened before. And because of that, it is truly impossible to overstate the importance of what has happened with this document today.
The Pope's document saying in part, quote, neither can we deny or diminish the delay with which both society and the church came to denounce the scourge of slavery. Pope Leo also apologizing, saying, quote, it is impossible not to feel deep sorrow when contemplating the immense suffering and humiliation endured by so many in stark contrast to their immeasurable dignity as persons infinitely loved by the Lord. For this, in the name of the church, I sincerely ask for pardon. Pratt says Pope Leo's words can also create a new level of conversation within the U.S. Catholic Church.
What happens in schools, what happens in Catholic higher ed, what happens in dioceses, where do we see churches closing and parishes reorganized? What communities are most deeply affected by these changes that are being made on a fairly regular basis?
Now, in the document release, Pope Leo also said human trafficking, quote, must be recognized as a contemporary form of slavery and a grave violation of human dignity. Now, he said that failing to respond firmly or tolerating it is to become complicit. I'm Lauren May.
I mean, shoot, that last part took 9 seconds. I have a 3-minute clip. What is the bigger thing today? Let's talk about slavery, or let's talk about what's going on right now in the real world. Now, there is slavery going on in Africa and China over AI and all the parts. I mean, if you're holding a slave device, that's what we call a slave device, the tracking device, your cell phone. Yes, it's made out of stuff. They got kids, and you see the videos from they're making kids dig cobalt out of the ground with guys with guns holding wherever they are in the Congo. I think it's the Congo. So they got that going on right now. I don't know why out of a 250-page thing on AI, which we said there was a lot of good stuff in it last time. Why that came up? Because everybody ran with the slavery thing. That was like 2 paragraphs out of a small book that they published. Slavery, AP, this slavery. See, this is NBC Philadelphia, slavery. What in the world? So I had to do this. I was like, all right, I'm going to, because I deal with a lot of alt media guys. I see them, I follow them a lot. I get a lot of info from these guys. They are all in, most of them, on going after the Doctrine of Discovery. If you've never heard of that, just trust me. You go to any alt media site, you're going to see Doctrine of Discovery about 50,000 times. There's a guy really good on cooking and using stuff from seed to table, and he's all about Doctrine of Discovery. I mean, you just woo, even to the point of the Celtics. I mean, like, oh, he's upset that St. Patrick went in Ireland. I mean, to that level, they hate us. The Canadian thing, even though the Canadian thing, the school thing was debunked, they don't care. But yes, it was all primed up. It seemed like it was. So I figured, let's tackle this. I put in the link. Here's the link for the AP story right there. And so if you have this, it's on the show notes. Again, it's the first one in the show notes. I put it on the Substack. I get into what this Doctrine of Discovery is. There's phrase Doctrine of Discovery is misleading. I get into what the church never taught. And the church did never teach any of that. Then they get into the popes, what they said. Pope Eugene IV, secret dudum. Here's the entire letter right there. And I have to say, I got a misprint right there. And he ordered that the enslaved be totally and perpetually free. This is 1435. Paul II, Sublimis Deus. Indians are truly men. They are by no means deprived of the liberty of possession of property. You see, I go through all this. Queen Isabella opposed to enslavement of indigenous people. She had a line, "Are they not men?" And she was like, "Are they? They have to be taught and brought up in the faith, things like that." The laws of Bourgus in 1512. The new laws in 1542. The historical irony. Now, a lot of people going, "Oh, those guys did so much evil in South America." All right, let's think. It goes into the time period at the time. Did they have email? Did they have text phones? Did they have cell phones? No. So they would have to do what? If you were supposed to get a message from, I don't know, let's say Colombia to Spain, you had to make sure you caught a ship, sailed across to Spain, took weeks. Make sure you didn't die on the way, and then deliver it to the king or queen, and then come back with the response. That could probably take months. How long it take? I don't know. I've never sailed across the ocean. So it wasn't like you could just, hey, these guys doing it in real time like you do it now. So, it was up to, the king and queen might have said to XYZ or condemned XYZ, but if you get some guy that had a power trip and decided to go off the reservation, there's not much you can do besides you're now that group you're in. You got to take care of that group. There wasn't any, hey, let me call a friend back in Seville. No, there was none of that. You had to handle that locally, literally. And again, so I get into Bartolo. Here's a Mensa Pastorum from Benedict XIV, Gregory XVI, In Supremo Apostatus, 1839. Leo XIII, Catholica Ecclesia, 1890. Pius X, even on Lacrimabili Statu, 1912. So, in Catechism, Benedict XIV, Vix Preventiet in 1745. And then I get into the African slave trade, what it was. And here's a video of Africans literally apologizing for selling Africans. This was years ago. And there was a book by John Thornton, author of Africa and Africans in the Making of the Atlantic World. Link it to right here, Wayback Machine or Amazon. He explains that the Europeans generally lacked the manpower and inland access to seize millions directly because people think that the white people pulled up to a boat in the dock and they're like, come on up. No. Africa, they were enslaving their own, killing them, eating them, and then they sold them onto slavery to make buco's amount of money. So again, if you want to learn, I don't know why he went in. So I had it's just one of those things. I just like it was on my mind. Let me put this together. Is Jefferson's deleted a condemnation of the slave trade in the Declaration because some states didn't like it. That the South ended up banning the slave trade anyways. So as history is not propaganda, the truth is the church was unique. The truth is not the church is uniquely evil, nor is it the church never sinned. The truth is more difficult, more real. The church carried divine truth through fallen civilizations populated by sinners. Sometimes Catholics fail catastrophically. But Christianity also induced a moral revolution that transformed how mankind understood human dignity, justice, natural law, the equality of souls before God, etc. So, I mean, if you want to look at the whole thing, again, I thought it was pretty long, but when you know what you're doing on it, it's not that long. It was a fun topic, I thought. Anyway, there it is in the Substack. At least I don't understand why that was even a topic on there. I thought it was a distraction for what the real thing was about. Anyway, let's get right to it. Here's Brian McClanahan talking about this guy going, counterpoint, battle hymn in the Republic, pros, conquering evil with God on our side. Liberal heads exploding every time it's played. Apparently I'm a liberal because I hate that song. Brian goes, except the tune was written by a lunatic leftist for other lunatic leftists who wanted to purge Americans. So there's that. Yes, it was. It was a lunatic leftist, Unitarian that penned it. Saw the glory of the coming of the Lord as Sherman was burning down the South. Here is the White House turning into the UFC arena. Cranes assemble giant fight cage.
And reptilians, 4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming. And there are a lot of believers in Congress.
I have seen evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain. And I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion.
4 different species of aliens.
Here's the full 9-minute clip.
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion. It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon.
In Congress, yep.
UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
And do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 types, 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talk to.
Notice everyone who's brought this up, there's 4 different types. Now, I haven't seen any and don't know anything about it, but I had told it's kind of like I know a guy who know a guy who know a guy who said they had 4, but I've never seen any of it. But we're going to go on record on a major show and say, yep, there's 4, but I have no evidence to back any of this up. But believe me, bro.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming, and there are a lot of believers in Congress.
I have seen evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain, and I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion.
Releasing the files isn't easy. They've been hitting for years, and a lot
Just
of
like the
people
Epstein
want to
files.
keep it that way.
The problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on release, and he kept his word. And I suspect
The deep state's
some of our
fighting the president,
not so
who is
friendly
also the deep state.
comrades and some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of the information. It's about power, it's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
So why is our own government fighting so hard to keep these secret? Well, a dozen scientists have either gone missing or died. Now, we don't know if that's related, but people are scared to talk.
One I thought was going to do an interview, and then a couple days before sent me a message saying, after further consideration and long talks with my wife, I decided I'd be forfeiting my life if I participated in your interview. And I thought that was like very unsettling
yeah.
message to get, obviously, but also very specific word choice, you know, forfeiting my life.
Dan Fair is the director and producer of The Age of Disclosure, the film that started to shake loose the UFO files. All right, Dan, what have you heard about these different breeds of alien life?
Look, a number of the people I interviewed in my film, senior intelligence officials, went on the record saying that there have been dozens of crashed craft of non-human origin over the years, and elements of our government have recovered those crashes, and they've gotten out of that technology of non-human origin, and in some cases, non-human bodies that were on these craft. A number of the people in my film go on the record saying that the bodies were not all the same type, meaning there were multiple species.
Were the bodies alive or were they dead?
The people in my film talked about events where they were dead bodies, they were deceased bodies.
Okay. And there's a lot of speculation about the amount of UFO information we've been given on this first tranche.
Jesse doesn't want to ask.
Expected more.
Do you have any
We know
evidence?
there is more. Why do you think people inside the government are fighting so hard to release more?
Yeah, so the president gave his directive in middle of February, essentially instructing all federal agencies to declassify evidence of non-human intelligent life and UAP. What happened after that is the White House had to go get that evidence out of the hands of all these federal agencies, and they all for the most part push back. The people who have gatekept this information for 80 years, they don't want to share it. You know, they've gotten a lot of power and control over the years, and it's just frankly not human nature for people to want to give up.
Yeah, you know, like JFK or Epstein, nothing like that. No, this is it.
Power and control. So there's a tug of war happening behind the scenes. There are a number of other reasons guiding their desire to keep this secret, including a general belief that the public can't handle the truth. I would argue the public can handle the truth. I think my film shows that. People aren't watching it and jumping out of windows. They're curious and they want to learn more. There's also a general feeling that a concern that they can't tell the American public what they know and don't know without also telling our adversaries and giving them some sort of advantage. But I think...
What in the world would the average... We don't want to tell our adversaries that. What advantage would... Let's pretend this is even real. What advantage would that be for that?
I think that that's not really accurate. I think our adversaries know we're not alone in the universe. They know we've been recovering craft of non-human technology, non-human origin. Saying it out loud wouldn't give them any new information.
Is there
Those base
also,
facts can be shared.
like, the credibility factor? You know, this is a government that's lied to us about a lot of things for a lot of years, and this was one of the big ones. You were called crazy if you even suggested anything like this. And now they're releasing files admitting that it was actually real. Are they trying to protect themselves, their own credibility?
Yeah, there's certainly an element of that. I mean, no one wants to take accountability. You know, a lot of people's lives were ruined over the years covering this up. A lot of careers were ruined. And, one of the other concerns people who involved in keeping the secret have is the fact that they're worried about coming forward, sharing evidence they have, and then being punished for it, being treated like criminals. And so there are members of Congress right now who are trying to put together amnesty language to give protections to these people so they can step forward more comfortably.
If they did end up releasing an image or a video of non-human life
They'd have to make one
recovered
up.
from a craft, and they put that out there, what do you think the public reaction would be?
I mean, truthfully, I think in
Hitting
this day
the
and age,
BS
with the
lever.
rise of AI, half the country would probably think it's an AI image and not real. That's why I think, my film has moved the needle, because it's credible people putting their reputations on the line to share what they legally can.
Credible
And
what? What do you mean
there's
by
real
credible?
stakes to that.
Marco Rubio is credible?
I think it makes much more of an impact these days when we live in a time where everyone thinks everything they see online is fake.
Do you think the president's a believer? This weekend, he posted an image of himself walking down the tarmac with an alien.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Look, I think he's learned the reality of the situation, that we're not alone in the universe. And, I think this disclosure process is happening because he's put it in motion. I know I just heard today from friends on the House Committee to Declassify Federal Secrets that there will be another 40 or so UAP videos declassified in the next 30 days. On top of that, key members of the cabinet are aggressively trying to find the most meaningful evidence within the federal agencies and branches of the military, so they can then decide what of that evidence can safely be declassified. And this is going to be a rolling process. It's going to be a rolling disclosure process.
I mean, we're seeing a video right now on the screen. I expect to see better quality videos. We've been hearing stories about craft that right degree angle, things that just you can't even conceptualize flying that way.
That are impossible.
It's a humbling experience for the human race. That has to be a major issue here, almost a religious issue.
Yeah, look, some people say they worry it would negatively impact religion. I don't really personally see that. I think that all the world's religions will sort of fit this into their existing dogma in one way or another. And yeah,
they'll just add it into their dogma. How do you suppose to do that, Dan? Fox. They used to call it Fox News as FAUX News. And, Jesse's doing that right now with that. We're not alone. Oh, really? Because you say so. Okay, fine. All right. Show us these bodies. No, don't tell me about it. Just like the guy. Oh, we got credible guys on there. And here's one of the credible guys. They told us we have 4 guys out there. There are 4 different people like this. I've never seen them, but I was told by somebody. So you're not a credible guy. You can't say you're credible and then not have any information, not evidence to go with. Trust me, bro. I have a guy who told me that it was. It'd be like me telling you guys, oh yeah, guys, I got a guy who knows that Epstein didn't kill himself. I haven't seen the tape. I haven't seen the guy. Believe me, bro. Oh, that is so bad. Half of Americans say the fun in their lives have disappeared, but they're trying to take that out with the UFO stuff. Yeah, your cell phone does take better video. You don't have to tell me you're not alone. I've seen Close Encounters. I thought you were going to say something like, I've been to Boston. You remember Men in Black when they asked Will Smith, when Will Smith gets asked by Tommy Lee Jones, there are guys that live around us. And he goes, cab drivers. I always thought that when I did Uber, so someone probably thinks I'm an alien. Yeah, they found crackheads. There's some guys that look like those guys. Literally, there's some homeless guys that look like that. In a nutshell, 48% of Americans say their lives are currently lacking in fun, and 12% can't recall last time they had a full free day to enjoy themselves. I can tell you why. Cost is Cost is the single biggest obstacle of 57% budget constraints. Adults who make time for fun report real payoffs. 72% says it reduces their stress. I wonder, these probably aren't even people with kids. So that's one reason. They don't have kids. They can't have fun. But you can do some fun free. But they're probably doing this. They're attached to their slave device, so they can't go anywhere. Even if they're off for work, they're still getting emails and things like that. Yeah. Oh, it was like, I'm bored. I'm lacking fun. And you have no, if you can't have fun without the TV on, video games, or watching YouTube or anything like that, then I don't know. You'd be able to have, I can have fun instead of just walking down the thing going to get the mail. Anyways, yes, Sean, I'm hoping you're having some fun right now. If not, you're like, dang, Steve is just putting me down. I'm going to, and he's so depressing, black pilling everyone. There's some black pillars out here. I know. Yes. I just want to tell you, this is one of the funniest things that you will see today.
Yeah, a lot of times you can.
Maybe it's different because I'm a girl.
Hello, ma'am. Hey, good morning. I'm Deputy Gasol with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Recently being pulled over in the city of Lake Worth today. We're doing an operation for distracted driver, and you drove past me holding the phone with your right hand, manipulating that phone. I mean, I saw you with the phone in your hand.
Not. So you want to just call this a day? Or?
I don't want to call it a day. You had a hand up manipulating.
You just said my right hand.
Well, I thought I saw you with your right hand. You
so
had a
you
hand
didn't.
up. The right hand. I saw you manipulate.
So you didn't.
With the right hand, perhaps not, right? But I saw you.
You didn't see me with my right hand.
So are you
saying that you saw me with my right hand?
I know what I just said. I'm asking you now. Did you or not have your phone on your hand?
I did not.
You did not have your phone in your hand?
I did not.
Hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
The other hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
Cool. You have your driver's license, registration,
yes,
and insurance with you?
Yeah, a lot of times
This is so great. The hand to God thing. The first
so
one.
The right hand. I saw you manipulate.
So you didn't.
With the right hand, perhaps.
With my right hand. You saw me with my right hand.
I know what you said. I know what I said. You now. Did you or not have your phone? You did not have your phone in your hand.
I did not.
Hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
I always wanted to stop after that, but we got some data center news. Data centers are stealing your water, your power, and your freedom. Here's how to fight back, says Natural News. You thought they would be Terminators, but it's actually data centers. Blah, blah, blah. 45 financial change. The new FCC, but the FCC won't bother me. Your phone becomes your tracking device. That we've done that for years. Just as the data centers consume your physical resources, the federal government is moving to seize control of our digital lives. The FCC won't bother me. It has proposed a rule requiring the government-issued ID for any self-service, including VoIP. This is a direct assault on anonymous communication and the first step towards a comprehensive surveillance state. Why your smartphone is part of the problem. Using a de-Google phone. Yeah, I know about de-Google. If you have some de-Google phones, those are good. From abovephone.com, it's not just about, they're expensive though. It's a direct act against the data center economy. There's not enough of those to go around for everyone too. Solutions, community action, decentralized tech. The time to act is now. Okay, the time to act is in 5 weeks. Maybe 5 months, and just relax. Start leaving your phone at home. So you give her a ticket. Just take the L. No, someone said she should go into jail. They have him arrest her, and then just do the same thing at the prison.
Lost to miscarriage as have pro-lifers in Louisiana begin the process of changing the terminology for miscarriage there. Currently, the Pelican State classifies a baby lost to miscarriage as having died from a spontaneous abortion, missed abortion, or threatened abortion. Redbird Ministries is working with lawmakers to change that language, saying pro-life families suffer when they see the word abortion as part of an already tragic situation of losing a preborn baby.
We lost our son at almost 12 weeks, and my body did not recognize that I was miscarrying. So in an ultrasound, I heard the words, "I'm sorry, your baby does not have a heartbeat." And that's when that process began, where I was consulting with my doctor all the language she used was very compassionate. You know, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I'm so sorry your baby has died. But then later met those words that was sent to my home in my super bill. So it was in my medical coding, but also too in intake forms. So when you're going back to the doctor and you're having consults about ongoing care, they ask, how many pregnancies have you had and how many abortions have you had? And if you have to answer that, honestly, even though you wanted your baby, you would have done anything for your baby, you are forced to put in your chart that you've had an abortion. And it's...
How they screwed that up so bad? The wording. I mean, how you mess up that wording that much? There's my church down in Louisiana. It was another incredible day for Central Louisiana as we announced Applied Digital's $3.6 billion investment for its AI tech campus in Rapides Parish. This is the largest private investment in Central Louisiana history, proving the motto, the capital goes where it's treated. Mike says, not what I voted for, and I'll bet that no one in Rapides Parish did either. AI Tech Campus equals we download the entire catalog of most everything you meat suits have written, drawn, sculpted, and voiced, and will now sell it back to you as AI. I'll put this later. Where we at here? Here in Charlotte, data center protesters outside the government center ahead of tonight's public hearing. So they had a thing down in downtown Charlotte, and apparently it got so bad that Bruno mentions in another tweet, I don't think I have it, that, no, I don't have it. Bruno mentions in another tweet that people were so loud in the booing that the mayor was pretty much, done. Let's see if I have it in here. Claiborne sees protected as South Kakalaki lawmakers reject redistricting effort. Oh, so South Carolina is rejecting the redistricting, so Claiborne is fine. Gone long are the days of what South Carolina used to be. Joe Bruno, attorneys speaking in favor of data centers are being booed after their speeches. Mayor Lyles is losing her patience. See if they have any more on that. So yeah, this is the way you do it. Got to get out there and get uppity and start talking now. Mayor Mr. V. A couple of people in there, maybe bots, maybe not. They are for chat. Some are for it as data centers. Lila Rose writes, Planned Parenthood federal funding will be restored in 38 days unless Congress acts to defund them now. I got an idea. See, aliens, data centers, funding Planned Parenthood. Declare independence. I mean, July 4th coming up. I mean, that declaration does mention something about getting rid of that government that he is pretty much, kaplumped right now. I don't know. This is maybe that's radical. I don't know. Maybe we need some radical in there. It's not saying revolution. It's declaring independence. As I say, divorce from DC and federal funding is eliminated. How all the, more people, nobody's really getting many views. Like 83 views on that. 83 people saw that retweet or that post. 25 million people saw that. 25,000 saw that. 85 people saw me write that 6 hours ago.
We hear everybody talking about how bad ticks are this year. This is what you need. They literally love ticks. They go around looking for them and eating them. These are guinea hens. They're loud, but they're wonderful. We don't have ticks because of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get some, like a possum in the backyard, those things, chickens, all that. They will take. You don't have to worry about ticks. I don't have to worry about a lot of bugs.
The entire list together under Federal Regulation Title 9, Section 319.15. A product labeled ground beef patties or hamburger patties cannot legally contain added water, phosphates, binders, or extenders. Zero fillers. But change the label to beef patties, drop one word, and suddenly TVP, soy protein, organ meat, and added water are all legal. Every brand on this list used that same two-word loophole. That is not a coincidence. That is a business model. That's the list. The point was never to scare you out of the frozen section. It was to hand you what the packaging was designed to hide. So here's the other side. 3 brands made the cut. Not because the bar is impossible, because real simplicity at this scale is rare. Number 1, Bubba Burger. 1 ingredient, 100% USDA choice beef chuck. 0 fillers, 0 additives, 0 preservatives. Founded in 1995 by Walter Eves in Jacksonville, Florida. Still privately owned, still processed at their own plant in Elberton, Georgia. Number 1 in frozen burger sales nationally. The caveat is density. These are thick patties and the fat ratio varies. But the ingredient list is one word long, beef. Number 2, Kirkland Signature grass-fed beef patties from Costco. Single ingredient, beef.
I wanted more. I was getting comfy. I was looking to see what else they had on there. Sorry, I got pulled away on it. I was like, really? That's all you had? A minute and a half? Let me see if there's any more on there. Oh, here it is. 8 frozen beef burger brands you should never buy.
The number 1 ingredient in Banquet Salisbury steak is not beef. It's mechanically separated chicken. A paste made by forcing leftover carcass and bone through a sieve under high pressure, not buried at the bottom of the label. Ingredient number 1. But Banquet isn't the only brand pulling this in the frozen section. I went through the ingredient lists on the most popular frozen burger brands in America. What I found isn't a quality problem. It's a pattern. Filler, organ meat, and one USDA labeling loophole that ties all of it together. By the end of this video, you'll know 8 frozen burger brands to stop buying, 3 that use real beef with nothing added, and the single word on the box that tells you everything. Let's get into it. Number 1, Ballpark Flame Grilled Beef Patties. The front of this box says made with 100% beef. Sounds like a promise. It is not.
No idea Ballpark
Flip
even
that
had
box over
beef.
and read the back panel.
Beef,
water, sodium phosphate, dextrose. Front swears is 100% beef. Here's what food scientists understand that most shoppers do in 2014 for $8.5 billion. The brand your dad's 20 patties, 13 20 box. Walmart extra value quarter-pound beef patties.
I could have told you that.
5-pound box. 20 patties, 13 cents per ounce. Read the label. Beef heart.
If you're going in the Walmart thing, you're getting 100% whatever. You need your head examined anyway.
Hearts, water, soy protein concentrate. Then a seasoning blend with turmeric extractives delivery system, shaped like one. Number 3, Banquet family size Salisbury steaks. Owned by ConAgra Brands, mechanically separated chicken is ingredient number 1. Water is 2, pork is 3. Number 4, Steakum. Those thin frozen sheets you'd throw in a skillet for cheesesteaks.
Never even heard
A federal judge finished the patty. Number 6, Fast Fixin'. Owned by Tyson Foods through its $4.2 billion acquisition of Advanced PR Foods in 2017, that makes 2 Tyson-owned brands on this list. Different packaging, different shelf placement, same corporate owner running the same playbook. Number 7, this one isn't a single brand. It's every box in the frozen section that says seasoned beef patties. That word, seasoned, for 1, Bubba Burger. 1 ingredient, 100% USDA choice beef chuck. 0 fillers, 0 additives, 0 preservatives. Founded in 1995 by Walter Eves in Jacksonville, Florida. Still privately owned, still processed at their own plant in Elberton, Georgia. Number 1 in frozen burger sales nationally.
Oh, yeah.
The caveat is density. These are thick patties and the fat ratio varies, but the ingredient list is one word long.
Let me tell you something,
beef.
Gene.
Number 2, Kirkland Signature grass-fed beef patties from Costco. Single ingredient, beef, raised without antibiotics or added hormones. 15 1/3 pound patties for around $30.
Actually pretty good.
Roughly 38 cents per ounce. Best price to quality ratio on this list. You need a Costco membership. If you have one, this is the answer. Number 3, pre-brand. The gold standard, single ingredient, 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef. That distinction matters. Most grass-fed cattle get finished on grain, and if
Never heard of pre. Anyway, I just figured that was something good for everyone to check out because no one thinks about that. I mean, it's still having to. I mean, we're on the same path here on everything. With like, it costs us more to feed kids because we try not to get the bad stuff. And I mean, even bread. There's a bread I've had in the fridge for over a month. That's because you get even like Dave's. Is it Dave's? That's got glyphosate in it. I can't remember what it's got like a scripture verse on it. I can't remember the name of it. I found it on Amazon for they had like a 90% sale. Every so often they have a sale on it, so I'll get some. If not, it's $25 for a loaf. But yes, they poison all their food. So try to, eat locally. Try to find your own butcher. Try to grow your own food. Things like that. Children's Health Defense. Colorado is one governor's signature away from passing a draconian bill that would ban ABA service from unvaccinated children. This bill caught my attention because it seemed almost cruel and bizarre. HB 261425 in Colorado would ban ABA services for unvaccinated kids. We're actually calling everyone in the nation to call Governor Polis. You know what you should do? Everyone in Colorado should call Governor Polis. Don't be asking me in North Carolina to do your duty. Call, people if people in Colorado want this, that's people in Colorado. It's stupid, but it's people in Colorado. If you have a child receiving in America, but again, I get the problem. But if you don't live in Colorado, guess what? It's not your problem. Maybe the people in Colorado actually want it. That's why I don't live in Colorado. I live in North Carolina. Anybody that says calls a foreign state and tell them not to do something when you don't live there, don't be mad when they call your state, do the exact same thing for something that they don't want done. Maybe you want something. Maybe you live in Maryland and you want to consecrate Maryland to the Sacred Heart. What if Colorado people start saying, call up the governor, tell them not to do that? What's the difference? It's the exact same thing, except different team party politics. Colorado wants to do it. That's a Colorado problem. The state or country of Colorado is free to do dumb things. If you don't like it, you can change it by getting involved, which people in Colorado should get involved and run for governor, state house, all that stuff. Or you pick a U-Haul and leave. Yes. But don't ask other people to do your dirty work. No, there's nothing actually on this. It's just that sleep scientist warns Congress is getting the science exactly backwards on permanent daylight savings time. Dr. Whitney Troxel tells Fox News Digital that permanent DHS, daylight savings times, would force Americans to wake up in the middle of their biological night every single day, creating chronic misalignment between internal clocks and the external world. The U.S. tried this once before in the 1970s. It lasted less than a year before being repealed after morning car crashes spiked and parents revolted over kids commuting to school in total darkness, definitely in the winter. You know, it's a good answer to that, too. Don't send your kids to school. How about that? Yeah, Polis is pretty much as bad. He doesn't get it as bad, but because he plays on a different team. I won't be shocked if he's running for president because I thought he would 4 years ago, but obviously, like I said, the script was already set. He couldn't do it. Why would he run when it's automatically somebody else? I don't know who else was supposed to go in. There was no. I don't know how people don't figure that out. Like the RNC, the whole primary beforehand was a show. It was a sham. None of them were doing anything. Why even have it? And then the DNC wasn't doing anything, and everyone thought, "Hey, this is democracy." Where? They're not even pretending to show it anymore. I was telling people 8 months before the election, Trump is in. That's it. He's coming in. He's going to do X, Y, Z. Guess what he's done? He's done X, Y, Z. Exactly what it is. What do people still do? They call me, this guy today has called me a lefty. Like, come on. Even I asked him, what do you know Stargate Day One? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. It was a good movie. Idiot. It's just frustrating. Breaking 911. A new survey found that 75% of Americans believe restaurants should offer some form of adults-only dining experience, including child-free sections, late-night restrictions for kids, and quieter environments focus on a more dining experience than family-friendly friendly chaos. Where in the world are you going in a restaurant that you have to worry about your kid? There was a post. People don't want kids at a romantic date night restaurant. First off, one, it's pretty much impossible for a family of anything to go to a restaurant that doesn't offer free food for kids anymore. Two, if you're going on a date to Chili's or calling out a romantic dinner, because I'm trying to think of where could people go that there's kids there under the age of 4 that are crying. You're like, all right, Chili's maybe, TGIF, places you don't want to eat anyway because the food probably is terrible. Local pizzerias, Chinese maybe. Are you doing this Japanese, throwing this volcano, fireworks? You doing that? I mean, does that count? Even the place, there's a Chili's baby rack ribs. There's a place called Lake Valley Pizzeria. We'll go there because kids eat for pretty much, it's 99 cents for kids to eat. And that's our treat. We'll go a treat, and the kids eat like kids pizza, kids spaghetti, kids this. I'll get a burger and the kids eat for free. I'm like, yes. And burger is pretty good too. Local guy, they're all from here. The local parish, I think they're all Catholic too. They got Knights of Columbus things all over the place. We'll go there, and outside they have kids there. Most of the kids that are in there are pretty much, zombied up in their device. We're like the only ones that don't have kids looking at a cell phone. People will come up and say, that's cool that you guys aren't doing that. And even if crying, I don't remember any kids crying. So apparently, like Mark said, that's a very anti-family society. Yes, indeed. I mean, where are you talking about? Is it like smoke-free versus smoke? You got smoking section, you got the children family section. I'll be in the family section, but still, people used to get mad when my dad ran a sports bar when I was a kid, and they'd bring kids in because it's pretty much cigarette smoke everywhere. It was funny. There was these two brain surgeons, husband and wife brain surgeons, and they put their kid right there, and they're just smoking it's a chimney. Anyways, no one cared about that. But yeah, who in the world? When is this a problem? But yeah, most people can't afford it anyway. Recall alert, Blackstone, which maybe one day I'll get they're pretty inexpensive. The Blackstones. You ever notice that the grills are real grills are like $900? Blackstone's like $200. Yeah, most adults on their cell phones and dinners anyway. Most everyone at a table is on a cell phone. They're tweeting each other. I usually joke with friends of mine if I see them on Facebook when they tell their spouse or that how much they love them on a tweet or a text or a Facebook post. I'm going, yeah, he's sitting next to you. Tell him I love him too. Really, you put a Facebook post about the other guy or your wife, or you're sitting next to them, right? Don't do their jobs and kids are. Yeah, that's because they're on their cell phones, or they just do not care. Can I drive? Can I put a bill out? I don't want lunatic parents or these people that act like they own the place to come into a restaurant when I'm there either. Works both ways. Blackstone seasoning sold at Walmart recalled for possible salmonella. How about you just make your own seasonings? Excuse me. Long day. What is the ingredients in this thing? Ingredients: salt, whey, buttermilk. Oh, there's garlic. There's something good right there. You know, you could just make your own. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at it right here. Parmesan ranch seasoning. I'm sure the soy is in it, yeah, but just make your own. Grow your own, make your own. Duh, easy.
There's something not right here. I think they're lying to us about why we need to be building all of these AI data centers.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility.
2 million.
Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
They're saying that that's what it's being used for.
Yeah, I mean, as he says, the hypothesis, he goes, my goodness, they're actually building massive jails. I don't know. I mean, are they? I mean, the FEMA camps are the ones where everybody talked about beforehand, and they got plenty of those out. My thing is the anti-tech stuff that are coming, the bills are coming out, just like the anti-Semitism acts coming out. Because I got more on that coming up, but I have that one out of the line for it. Troy, because talk about, remember growing your own food? California farmers must destroy, that's right, destroy 4,200,000 peaches. Must destroy 420,000 peach trees after Del Monte closes its canneries and cancels more than $550 million in long-term contracts. Great googly moogly. California peach farmers must pivot to different crops like almonds to recoup costs following the bankruptcy filing of Del Monte and a closure of canning facilities. For many warm weather fruit lovers, prospect of unlimited ripe and rosy peaches and mouthwater is mouthwater. Now, I have never said the following statement, man, this peach in the middle of the winter from California, tasty. No, never said it. Never's come out of my mouth. If you ever open a canned Del Monte canned peach and go, man, this is really good peach, said nobody ever. No, nobody. If you have said that, I got some peaches in the backyard that you could like, I will never do a canned peach again. Or if you go to a buddy of mine, if you're in Rutherford, I got guys that grows peaches out there. There's Mark, look up peaches in your area. Let me do a quick search right here. Hold on. Just un momento, por favor. Peaches was hold on. Let me see. What is Iowa's zone? Let's see, Iowa zone is what? Iowa spans through 4 and 6B. Okay. What are these peaches? Let's see what kind of varieties of peach trees. Let's see. Growing peaches in Iowa is rewarding but challenging endeavor due to harsh winters and late spring frost. Best chances to come across highly cold, hardy, late blooming varieties like Reliance and Contender. So there you go, Mark. If you want top cold, hardy peaches varieties for Iowa, Contender. It survives down to -40 in some areas. Features yellow fresh freestone separation. Reliance is a highly popular yellow fleshed freestone variety known for its harsh bud hardiness. Polly, white flesh, ooh, those are good. Sweet cleanstone variety. It's an heirloom discovered in Iowa in the 1920s. It was well adapted to survive deep cold. And the Iowa white peach, literally called Iowa white, upper Midwest heirloom that produces small to medium white fruit, is highly adapted to northern Iowa climates, though growers recommend constantly planting new seedlings to keep the orchard replenished. Well, there you go, dude. You ask and I shall receive. How about that? Anybody else? So, Mark, there's no you wish you can. You can. Go ahead and get those. Go ahead, get 2 of them. Get Contender and Reliance. Put them in the ground. Maybe get 2. Put them in the ground. Put others in a pot. And try. Well, shoot, I'd go all 4. That's how I am. I would look up all 4. Put them all out there. And if you really want to go at it, then get something in a pot that you can. This would be my recommendation for you, Mark. I would put them in a pot and get a greenhouse, pop-up greenhouse. Why? Because you put them in a pot, you can trick the tree into fruiting faster. Because if you put them in the ground, it'll probably, depending on the size of the year you go, like if you go to fastgrowingtrees.com or something like that and you find one, for example, I haven't looked up those in years. They have ones that are 1 to 3 years old, 1 year old, 3 year olds or smaller, depending, but they get expensive. You get a year-old tree, it might be $100 or something like that. And it depends, you know. But if you put say one of those in the ground, go ahead and get one that's at least 5 feet tall, whatever it is. Trust me, it's worth not waiting a year for it or something, or 2 years for it. And usually a peach tree isn't that pricey on it, $30-$40 maybe. Put it in a pot, 15-gallon pot probably, 20 max, and don't worry about it. It'll go. Sometimes like some of the trees, the ones I got in the outback, they'll grow through the bottom hole into the ground anyways. You can't help it. There's holes in it. The roots are going to come out. What the pot does, because if you're in the ground, the roots will just keep on going. So it's going to keep going until they max out. They get the full extension. So it could take 5, 6, 7 years for it to start fruiting because it has to max out. It's got all that room to grow. But if you're in a pot, then it tricks it thinking, I've maxed out, time to fruit. So I've had the trees back there that I've had. I had a peach last year. That was the second year. This is the third year I've had them. And they're all, did you see the video I posted on Census Fidelity and Gardening? You'll see it. Now, the 2 days past that, they're all red. I mean, it is beautiful looking. I cannot wait to chow down on this. So put it in a pot, even if it's native, and I do that here, and I'll do that too. I'll have them in a pot whenever I get my own, and I'll put them in the ground. And if you want, you put them in the greenhouse to protect them during the, say, like March, April, May, and so they can get a kick out quicker on that and protect them from the frost. Bam, you'll be good. And say I came here late but see White House in the title because they wanted to comment on Trump. Those Trump accounts, 1,000 per kid as a mask for transfer of money. Yes, no kid. Bill, amen, brother, preach it. I have talked to guys who condemn communism all the time. I saw Anthony for avoiding Babylon, who they avoid me all the time now. But he had a thing with Hitchborn. Him and Hitch were talking, and I think Hitch or Anthony defined what communism was, and I put on their X response. I go, wow, sounds like DJT. I haven't heard back, but yes, I asked one of the big name guys before. I said, hey, you're against communism, right? Yeah. Why didn't you call it out these Trump accounts? He told me, quote, I don't have time to look up everything that Trump does. My wife just texted me. Hold on. Nobody's going to. Yeah. So he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, well, I don't know. Here's 15 links because it was all over the news. Did not know. Didn't care to look it up either. But he's also, this guy I'm talking about is also a gigantic DJT homer. I mean, just huge DJT homer. And he was one of the guys that said that the shooting was a first class miracle of him. Okay. And 2 days, was it a week later, the guy's doing a 3-hour video because he said he didn't have enough time, a 3-hour video on the State of Union address. It's just to pull my hair out. But yes, you're 100% right. That's socialism, but it's MAGA socialism, so we're good. It's cool. Let's see. To make ends meet, these farmers now weighing whether to destroy 3,000 acres or about 420,000 clingstone peach trees. Now farmers are left with no choice but to uproot these trees and pivot to different crops. Can you imagine uprooting all those trees? You might as well just set them on fire if you can't do it then. At least you'll get some nutrients in the ground. Wasting time and money to uproot. Shifts in USDA analysis noting that removing 50,000 tons of peaches from production could save farmers about $30 million projected losses. Again, this goes into why in the world is this a big thing? Because of centralization of the food industry. If you get out of if you decentralize, grow your own stuff, this never happens. None of this has to be a worry. What was it like? Fertilization we talked about yesterday with Judson. Why is fertilization a big deal? Because everything's centralized. Now you have to have fake fertilization. Whereas if you decentralize, you just throw some doggone clover out there, you're done. I mean, like I said, when he brought a mimosa tree, I got a little cherry, Chinese cherry out there. That fertilizes the ground. We didn't mention, I can't believe we forgot to bring that up. Comfrey. You chop some comfrey leaves, throw it on the ground, chop and drop, baby. That thing will fertilize the ground. Done. But again, this is because everything's centralized. No one wants to do anything in the back or anything like that. Our agrarian society is pretty much gone, but you're going to have to learn how to do it. Plus, it's better. You grow some basil, guess what? Basil's one of the top sprayed things at the grocery store. You get even the organics have come out. I've done reports. It's actually on a basil show that I did on the gardening channel. I look at it. It says it has the list of all the stuff: oregano, basil, thyme, all that. They're sprayed with chemicals in the things. That you go to the grocery store, even organic, they got bad stuff in you. Grow your own. Don't have to worry about it. I haven't sprayed anything in the backyard. Boom. In Tennessee too, that's exactly what it is. Because I have brought up, I'm in a group. They hate me in this group, and it's mostly all these guys from these Catholic apostolates. There are some Trump devotees there, and I have a good time because I'm that kind of guy of stirring the pot, kicking some hornet's nests, things like that. That's just me. You get a little bored in between putting some videos and reading up. Let me stir the pot a little bit. So that's me. Throw away any leftover fruit and veggies in the lawn. I think it's helping. I don't have grass, just random greenery. Yeah, it'll eventually rot. Yeah, so that's totally fine. I mean, if you throw that, and then if you actually, like Justin was talking about, you throw it in the backyard, then throw leaves and things like that over it. And if you throw, if you have comfrey, you put literally lay the comfrey over it, that will help speed up that process too. FDR did the same thing when folks were starving during the Depression. He had crops destroyed to keep corporate farms profitable. Yep, 100%. And yeah, most of history was agrarian. The South, the agrarian South. Why? The industrial North versus the agrarian South. Two different places that couldn't coexist. One was for greed, as they said, we're fighting an atheistic group whose God is money, God is greed, some of the North, versus the agrarians. Back in the South during the war days, people wouldn't let other people work on Sunday. Perish the thought. And it wasn't just Catholics that were doing that. There was a story of a family going through, and the family was telling them how to go work one place or the other. And then after they got done telling them, said, no, you're not going today. You're coming in. We're going to feed you. No, yeah, it's not Anthony or Rob who's our MAGA guys. I know they're not on the team Trump train. There's other guys that do that. The enhanced games. Did you see this by Corbett today or yesterday? He did this.
Hey, the event will reward if you're so inclined, but I think you get the idea. This is the steroid Olympics. Everyone's juiced. Cool. What could go right? Well, I'm for bodily autonomy. Maybe I should be for this. What could be wrong about this? Well, let's inquire into that in today's edition of Questions for Corbett, and we take our cue for today from a question in the mailbag from Christian, who writes, I came across a BBC News article regarding the newly allowed enhanced games. I was wondering what connections it has to the transhumanist agenda, for obvious reasons. Yes, thank you, Christian. Very, very good question, and one that's very timely, given that we have just seen the first ever enhanced games take place this past weekend, with all eyes on the world on the steroid Olympics. Well, certain outlets are picking up on that vibe. For example, The Telegraph, athletes at steroid Olympics are walking billboards for big pharma, which starts to get us somewhere towards answering your question, Christian. So let's take a look. This article notes that those behind the so-called steroid Olympics claim the event will reward athletic excellence, celebrate scientific innovation, and explore human potential. But its critics argue that those lofty ideals are a long way from the reality, which is that rather like the resort in the city in which the event is taking place, the enhanced games is a cynical, dangerous stunt.
It's not just idiocracy, James. It's a psyop in a sense to get you used to this stuff, just to get on the guys gardening. Doomsday Slayers has been trying to grow veggies kind of tough in Colorado, only growing cilantro successfully. Yeah, because it's colder. It always goes to the bolts for me because it's so hot. Got tomatoes, carrots, and watermelon in rotation. Grow any kind of basil. You can throw, there's 100 different kinds of basils out. Well, not 100, probably about 15. Do that. Oregano will be easy. It will come and go. It will go away in the summer. It will go away in the winter, and it will come back. It gets too hot, it will go away. If it grows, and it will come back. Let's see what else. Grow some, like all these herbs that we talk, throw on the ground, like stinging nettle. That's easy to do. Heat-wise, parslane is easy to grow. I'll grow real quick, and it loves the heat. If you're looking for heat stuff, also amaranth, tall spinach amaranth, bam, big time. Queen Anne's lace is like the original carrot. Things like that. Watermelon's going to take you a while, depending on the size of the watermelon too. That's why I do sweet baby rays. Sweet baby rays, that's barbecue. Sweet sugar babies. They're about yay big, and they'll usually pop about 15 of those. And then you just wait for them to be ripe, and you're good. Those are an apartment house. I'm growing oregano, basil, and parsley inside. Those are pretty easy, especially if you got a window with sun in there. Real easy. You could also throw in, I know it's not a perfect lemon, but it'll make the room smell good too. You put a Myers lemon in a pot inside, put it in a nice terracotta, and that thing will make your room smell good too, and give you lemons, sort of lemon, whatever they call them, like hybrid lemons. But also Doomsday, if you want, and Mark, if you want, you can look up Mackenzie Farm. It's in South Carolina. They have sasumas. Sasumas come from Japan, and they are incredibly hardy. There's actually a plant called -10 tangerine that will grow in -10s. So if it gets too cold, you got to protect them. The satsumas, they got all different varieties, lemons all the way to oranges, and in between. Get those, even a grapefruit. You can make those work in those areas. That's always just crazy because it should be satire. Exactly. Let's see, let's not forget the mandated pokey, but Trump funded it. Remember, yeah, it's all a team at once. As George Carlin said, it's one big team, and you ain't in it. Let's see. Okay, let's go back here.
Exploiting athletes and a credulous public to get rich. It goes on to note that the global pharmaceutical industry generates roughly $1.7 trillion in annual revenue, comparable to the gross domestic product of countries like Spain, Mexico, or South Korea. And one particular corner of it is growing fast: enhancement. And then it gets into this looks maxing idea, which is all the rage.
Yes, it's World Outer Day. I saw that when I was clicking on to turn one of the search engine on. It said World Outer Day. I go, really? World Outer Day? That's why I put World Outer Day. I got no story on it. It's just Google told me it was World Outer Day.
The kids these days, I don't know about you, but I have been unable to avoid this topic in my news feeds over the past several weeks, as someone going by the name of Clavicular has become some sort of internet star amongst, I don't know, teens, tweens, 20-year-olds, I don't know, because he's enhancing himself by hitting himself with a hammer or something. I don't know. I am not interested, but it is being shoved in our faces through the news feeds these days. And everyone has heard of this looks maxing idea, taking various substances, enhancements, and upgrades to become more attractive.
And by you guys mentioned idiocracy. Upgrade?
Yeah, what could go right? And this goes on to say that in many reports, these subcultures like looks maxing are a natural extension of a social phenomenon which has been on the rise for decades. The use of cosmetic, surgical, and pharmaceutical intervention to look younger, stronger, healthier. Botox, Mounjaro, Ozempic, peptides, the fascination with people such as
Peter Thiel
Brian
and Trump
Johnson,
Jr.
the tech entrepreneur behind Project Blueprint, who spends millions annually working with a team of doctors to reverse his biological age. Because, of course, all of these Silicon Valley tech bro ghouls are...
By the way, like Mark brings up testosterone in people, if you need a boost in it, pine pollen, that will help out. Yes, pine pollen from pine trees, pine pollen will boost up testosterone.
Obsessed with finding the fountain of youth in whatever peptides or whatever else they're ingesting, the blood of the innocent, whatever it is, whatever adrenochrome concoctions that they are cooking up in Silicon Valley to stay young forever. Anyway, I think you start to see how this idea of the enhanced game starts to lead us in a certain direction, and I think you're going to find some very unsurprising connections once we start actually digging into who is behind these games. But before we get there, just to underscore the point that these steroid Olympics are a big pharma advertisement, go to enhanced.com, the actual homepage of this enhanced games idea, and you'll find that in the menu bar, it is not the games themselves that are featured first and foremost, or the athletes, or the science.
It's the products.
Science, schmience. It's the products. And yes, of course, it is basically just an advertisement for all these supplements and things that you can buy to enhance yourself, just like those athletes you're watching on the live stream. Wonderful. But there is information about the games, the athletes, and the science behind this, including the Independent Medical Commission that is behind this, and the Independent Scientific Commission that is advising this, including such illustrious figures as, George Church, Professor George Church, PhD. Where have I heard about George Church before? Epstein's interest in genetics led him to sponsor a number of scientists working in the field, including George Church, a Harvard geneticist whose lab received funding from Epstein's foundation from 2005 to 2007 for cutting-edge science. Church publicly apologized for his connection to Epstein, which included several meetings a year from 2014 onward. This was neither the first nor the last time that this unassuming Harvard biologist immediately denounced the illness, indication of the types of characters who are behind this. So a little research project for those at home who are playing along. Why don't you go through that Independent Medical Commission and the independent scientific body there on enhanced.com and find out some of the other characters who are involved with this from the scientific point of view and find out what else they might be interested in and working on and working with. And I'm going to bet it won't be too long before you start stumbling down the Silicon Valley / transhumanist rabbit hole. And I'm sure this will not come as a newsflash to any of my regular listeners, but people out there who haven't studied this may not know about that aforementioned Silicon Valley tech bro quest for the fountain of youth, which is a recurring theme. You will know about it if, for example, you followed my multi-part story of last year, I believe it was last year, on the strange story of Peter Thiel, in which I went down the Peter Thiel rabbit hole and found, as I eventually found, Peter Thiel is a vampire. That's right. Well, it has been alleged that he is a vampire at any rate. And he is demonstrably invested in and interested in various anti-aging technologies, including what can be done with the blood of the young. Yes, literally taking blood from the youth and trying to concoct some sort of magic elixir from them, which Thiel may or may not be doing himself. There's no actual proof that he's a literal blood-drinking vampire, guys. But he could be. Anyway, this is where we start to go. So let's just play a game. Let's see how long it takes to find the connection between these enhanced games and someone like, Peter Thiel. Let's just see. Do you think that exists? Let's start by going to a search engine and typing in enhanced games board of directors. And let's just start going down this rabbit hole, guys. We'll do it live. Here we go. Okay, so we've got this board of directors and Maximilian Martin has been appointed CEO and assumes all operational leadership duties, yada, yada. With Martin's appointment, founder Dr. Aaron D'Souza has transitioned out of the company's day-to-day operations while remaining a shareholder. Aaron D'Souza. Okay, that's a name. He's the founder behind all this. So let's go back to the search and type in this guy. Who is this guy? Let's go to his official website. Dr. Aaron D'Souza is the founder and CEO of Objection, the AI tribunal for testing claims made in the media. He is also the founder of the Enhanced Games and led Peter Thiel's historic litigation against Gawker Media. And there's a link. And oh yeah, this man helped Peter Thiel demolish Gawker. Remember that? Remember when this libertarian free speech activist Peter Thiel funded Hulk Hogan's takedown of Gawker because, of course, Gawker had written that article outing Peter Thiel. Who was behind that? Apparently this Aaron D'Souza guy, who is to Peter Thiel. Who knows? But anyway, somehow or other, D'Souza managed a pitch deck circulated among potential investors and first reported by the Australian Financial Review claimed that Sargon, which D'Souza co-founded, had secured a $45 million Australian dollar commitment, really funding, and who is behind this in a financial sense, where we start to get to the meat and potatoes of the Enhanced Games / transhumanist connections. Steroid Olympics organizer to go public in $1.2 billion SPAC deal, says the Financial Times. What is a SPAC deal? Oh, you haven't heard of the special purpose acquisition companies that are used to take companies public without the usual IPO formalities? Well, anyway, there's a lot to learn from that. But long story short, the Enhanced Games and Athletics competition, dubbed the Steroid Olympics, has agreed to go public by merging with a blank check company in a $1.2 billion deal that is likely to heighten already considerable scrutiny on the controversial venture. And yes, Enhanced, which is backed by billionaire Peter Thiel and Donald Trump Jr., a son of the U.S. president. Oh, thank you. Oh, that Donald Trump Jr.
If you want to watch it, the rest of it, it's in the show notes. Here's the enhanced.com, and Corbett links all their stuff in the show notes. So yeah, just phenomenal. There's the board of directors page in case you were wondering. With Trump's backing, Paxton routs Cornyn in Texas Senate GOP runoff. Ken Paxton, the Texas AG, Attorney General of Nasty, defeated John Cornyn, a 4-term Republican senator, in a runoff that confirmed the president's hold on his party's voters. Mr. Paxton will face the Democrat nominee James Tellerico in a race with national implications. Paxton dominated Cornyn in Texas U.S. Senate, latest sign of Trump's hold on the GOP. In Oregon, you got to see this. Now, if you don't live in Oregon, you would not have known about it, but Oregon is looking to ban fishing and hunting. Oregon hunting and fishing ban reaches key milestone for ballot consideration. Sweeping petition that would likely restrict killing and hunting a sweeping position that would restrict killing and hurting animals, essentially criminalizing hunting and fishing in Oregon. Does that mean you murdered Bambi or something? Has collected enough signatures to potentially qualify for a November ballot. How many weirdos live in Oregon to get enough to come up with a ballot? Petitioners have turned 120,000 signatures. How do you find 120,000 like that? If you can find 120,000 people that want to ban hunting and fishing, you can find 100,000 people to do anything you want. You come up with an idea. If someone come up with one, you could probably find it. The People for the Elimination of Cruelty, Animal Cruelty Exceptions, Peace Act, if you're nasty, also known as IP28, set to refine Oregon's animal cruelty laws. Under the proposal, animals could only be hurt or killed if they were putting people and other animals in immediate harm or by veterinarians. So could you say, like, that deer thought about the deer was going to hurt me somehow, so I had to put it down. What in the world? Proposed law would criminalize hunting, fishing, and some farming practices to make it a misdemeanor to seriously injure, kill, or impregnate an animal unless it's in self-defense. Because you know about those non-self-defense pregnations of animals. I mean, It criminalizes ranchers, farmers, meat producers, and threatening to kill thousands of jobs, which means the end of hunting and fishing in Oregon, killing not only traditions, but and ending access to an essential source of food. And this is what you do if you live in Oregon is you leave Oregon. Or you become governor of Oregon. One or the two. You try to run and take over the government, or you leave.
Journalist said he has been placed on leave by the Washington Nationals. I know that the mainstream media is trying to ignore the story. We need you guys to share it. We need to expose this. If you're a Christian athlete, you should not be discriminated against for your religion. And that is exactly what happened when Sean Hudson discriminated against Trevor Williams for being an outspoken Christian. We need the world to see this story. And Sean Hudson has just been placed on administrative leave. He admitted it to one of our undercover journalists. This is a fact, Jack.
So what happened is Team Zeal for America. Oh yeah, we talked about that. We saw that before. How much is Zeal for America? How much are the tickets? Let me see. I'm just curious. Let's see. Tickets almost sold out. Where are the ticket prices? 501c. Buy tickets. There it is. Tickets are currently unavailable for us. I just wanted to see how much they were. All right, never mind. Let's see. Are we still on this one? Nope, we lost the whole thing. All right, so what happened is Catholic voters demanding answers from the Washington Nationals after a senior team executive was caught on cameras, hidden cameras, saying the organization avoids featuring pitcher Trevor Williams on social media because of his outspoken Catholic faith. It's what I told people because they bring up the Civil Rights Act, which was a horrific piece of legislation. It was pretty much making a new constitution in a sense, like an unwritten rule. And so I had a guy, one of the guys upset at me because I said, you know what? I don't care. Washington Nationals is a private organization. They can do whatever they want. This isn't a free speech thing. This is if they violate their ethics board or something like that, then it's something. But we should not be getting up. There's a lot of other uppity things to get about than a pitcher not being able to post on Twitter. Call me crazy. Was this what we're up to now? That we're upset that they're not focusing on their social media? Yeah, George Wallace was right. You need to make some T-shirts and bumper stickers like that. What in the world? Because it says right here, Title 9 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So they're using the Civil Rights Act on this. And I get it. You're not. But if that's the way they want to do it, that's the way they want it. Now we're going to go down and criminalize the guy for doing it. I don't care. We got a technocratic takeover in the general government, putting out we're going to have CBDC and digital ID, which the guy that's in the video with the bat, he's for that guy up in DC. You never see Catholic vote ever calling out any of this technocratic socialist stuff going on. But great googly moogly, if a baseball team doesn't promote a Catholic guy on their Twitter account, we're going to lose our minds over it. Again, Clown Planet. The race for California governor has become a battle over facial hair. Yes, the candidates' whiskers have emerged as a decisive issue ahead of next week's primary, with both sides trading barbs. Again, Clown Planet.
Plagues and famines, and of course, war. But now, one of the most powerful men on earth is warning that the next existential threat may be something humanity is building itself. See, over the weekend, Pope Leo called for aggressive regulation of artificial intelligence, warning that technology is moving faster than humanity's ability to control it. And he said AI must be disarmed.
Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. The word is strong, I know.
You notice that a lot of the Catholic talking heads that talked about the Encyclical really didn't bring this much up. I've heard guys talk about baptizing AI. I've heard most of the guys upset about he didn't say Jesus enough. Just wait a second, guys. The whole point of this was his AI thing. What is crazy is Nationals might be tracking info. Yeah, I guarantee they are. Yeah, a lot of these teams are terrible at that. And especially trying to get into a stadium where it's pretty much like a technocratic prison just to get in anymore.
But deliberately chosen because this moment needs words capable of attracting attention, awakening consciences, and indicating paths forward for humanity.
Yeah, think about the words there. The Pope is talking about artificial intelligence the same way that previous generations talked about nuclear weapons. He's looking at a world where machines are starting to make decisions.
Hold on, Matthew asked about real ID. Do not get the real ID. I didn't get the real ID. Do not get the real ID. They might force you down the road to get it. They might not even give you an option. But they asked me for an option. I said, just give me the regular. So I mean, they're like, oh, well, you can't fly. Well, I'm not flying anywhere. Oh, darn it, hit the wrong button.
Starting to make decisions about things like war and about employment, about surveillance, even about human value itself. And he's asking a question that very few people in power seem willing to ask. What happens when human beings are no longer necessary to the system?
I hear very troubling accounts of algorithms that can block access to healthcare, employment, and security on the basis of data tainted by prejudice and injustice. And I've heard the silence of those who have no voice when decisions are made. Decisions likely to generate new forms of exclusion and suffering.
That is an extraordinary warning coming again from the head of the Catholic Church. The wild part here, he isn't alone, because even the people building this technology are starting to sound the alarm.
There is a real possibility that AI will displace human labor at a very large scale. If that happens, supporting those displaced will be a moral imperative of historic proportions. This task will be difficult enough, but I worry most dialogue misses an even harder challenge. AI development is concentrated in a handful of wealthy nations. How will we ensure that the gains of AI are shared globally? We do not have a mechanism for this.
Yeah, that was the co-founder of Anthropic, speaking at the same event where the Pope warned that AI could replace human labor on a massive global scale. And his fear, it isn't just that jobs disappear, it's that the people making trillions of dollars.
Well, yeah, if they're coming down from the Fed, yes. If the state wants to do it, then the state wants to do it. The state can do anything it wants. But if it's coming from the Fed, that's why it's unconstitutional, because states do driver's license, not the federal government. I mean, is there some minor stuff? I mean, I haven't read the whole thing. Probably won't read the whole thing. I was more interested in the AI part of it. People are going to find different language. They're going to find stuff that it's 200 pages. You're going to find something in there. Was it 40,000 words or something like that? You're going to find some bad sentences. The slavery thing. That's the one I'm like, why is the slavery thing? So yeah, the key thing about that whole thing is going to be the AI's the technocracy, the AI, the transhumanism stuff. Everything else is going to be something from like Vatican II language, in the sense of everybody. I'm trying to use language that people around here will know. You're going to hear that stuff. Don't expect to hear Leo the 13th in it. Don't expect to hear Pope St. Gregory the Great language in it. Think about the time we live in and what you're going to hear. That shouldn't be nutty. It shouldn't be crazy. It shouldn't be shocking. But the main thing, the main part, the focus, the whole point of this encyclical is the AI stuff. Yes, he's going to get the other stuff. Yeah, I guarantee he's going to have some nutty things in it. Again, we all know that. Keep the focus. It's kind of like that idea of in Star Wars, when it says stay on target, stay on target, stay on target. You got all this other stuff going in. Stay on target. It's the AI part is the target.
Off this technology have absolutely no plan for the human beings who are left behind. And why would they? See, this industry isn't built around human dignity. It's built around monetization. Everything is about scale. Everything is about market dominance. Just listen to OpenAI CEO Sam Altman.
We see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. The demand that we see for that seems like it's going to continue to just go like this. And if we don't have enough, we either can't sell it or the price gets really high and it, you know, kind of goes to rich people, or society makes a bunch of sort of central planning decisions that I think almost always go badly about, you know, we're going to use our limited compute supply for this and not that. So that's
Yes, Bill, states do. But what happened a couple of months ago? Trump comes out with a thing saying the states can't do that. He literally puts a bill out. You talking about unconstitutional violation of 10A, saying that the states, the federal government bans the states from doing anything against AI. That I don't know why people didn't lose their minds more on that one.
thing to me throughout all the history of capitalism, innovation, whatever you want, is to just flood the market.
See, they don't see intelligence as something human anymore. They see intelligence, as it was described there, as a product, as a subscription service, something you have to pay to access, much like a utility, like water, he says. Imagine a world where your ability to think or create or compete or even work depends on systems that are owned by a handful of private corporations. See, even as these companies are promising a revolution, the reality is they're already starting to fall apart. We're now learning that AI isn't even delivering the savings that companies were first promised. Uber executives are now openly admitting they can't justify the massive cost of AI systems. Their own operations chief said there's no clear evidence that spending millions more on AI is actually producing better products. In other words, so far, they have been sold a fantasy. See, the same story is playing out over at Microsoft. The company that helped to lead the AI explosion just told thousands of its own engineers to stop using certain AI tools because the costs are too high. Now, think about how insane that is. The very people pushing AI into your life, every part of your life, every day, are now discovering that the economics may not even work. And then there is, of course, the darkest part of this entire story.
Give me one or two examples of what could go wrong.
So the kind of thing that there are two classes of things that I can imagine could go wrong. One, again, is around this idea of reliability, which is just it targets the wrong person, it shoots a civilian, it doesn't show the judgment that a human soldier would show.
Yeah, what is he talking about there?
Getting the wrong people.
Earlier this year, Anthropic CEO warned about the government using their AI systems on the battlefield. He said these systems do not show the judgment of human soldiers. They can shoot civilians, make deadly errors, and operate without human discernment. So again, one of the most powerful men in the AI industry is telling you that this technology is not reliable enough to make life and death decisions. And that's not just on the battlefield, that is across the board. And still, nothing is being done to slow its development. We told you last week, President Donald Trump canceling an executive order that would have created new oversight for AI companies. And why did he do that? Because in his own words, he did not want to hurt the AI companies.
I can tell you that.
Mr. President, why has today's executive order on AI been postponed?
Because I didn't like certain aspects of it. I postponed it. I think it gets in the way of, we're leading China, we're leading everybody, and I don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of that lead. We have a very substantial on AI. It's causing tremendous good.
He doesn't want to hurt the AI companies. And you heard the president there saying that we're leading China. But leading toward what? Despite the warning signs being everywhere, tech leaders are sounding the alarm, communities are protesting, and now even the Pope, warning that this technology could spiral beyond human control. You know, life imitates art, and in every artistic representation of AI in sci-fi, it doesn't end well for humans.
No, it doesn't. Speaking of that, let's see. Let me see if I can find this. Trump AI states. Just in case you guys don't believe me on that.
Using social media just to influence people and starts shaping the future of artificial intelligence itself. Trump may now be doing exactly that. The Trump administration is pushing a far more aggressive America First AI strategy, with discussions around reducing AI safety restrictions, weakening federal oversight, expanding military AI development, and targeting what Trump calls woke AI. And we've already seen how powerful influence through technology can become. After losing the 2020 election to Joe Biden, Trump publicly claimed we did win this election, despite there being no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Those claims spread rapidly across social media, and millions believed them. Now imagine that same influence amplified through AI systems that answer questions, generate content, shape narratives, and personalize information in real time. And this is why America's rivals are paying close attention, because Trump's AI strategy is not just about chatbots or online moderation, it's about geopolitical dominance. Reports suggest Trump allies want faster AI expansion with fewer restrictions, so the United States can outpace China in the global AI race. That includes military AI systems, cyber capabilities, surveillance technology, intelligence operations, and economic dominance powered by artificial intelligence. Supporters argue America cannot afford to slow down while China rapidly advances its own state-controlled AI systems. Critics warn the opposite, that removing safeguards while politicizing AI could trigger a dangerous global arms race involving misinformation, cyber warfare, deepfakes, and autonomous military technology. Because whoever dominates AI may eventually dominate not just information, but defense, diplomacy, elections, and global influence itself. And while all this unfolds, Trump's own social media behavior is becoming part of the story. For months, social media has been flooded with speculation about Trump's sleep schedule and claims that the president barely sleeps. Now comes the proof object. From January to April alone, Trump reportedly posted or reposted more than 2,400 times on Truth Social, averaging nearly 20 posts a day. His busiest hour? Between 9 and 10 p.m. But on January 5th, between 1 and 2 in the morning, Trump's account reposted 64 times in a single hour. War commentary, election claims, immigration, memes, geopolitics. Because everyone knows presidents do not personally type every single post. Trump has a dedicated digital operation behind him. But the real question is, who authorizes these posts? Who decides what gets amplified at 1 a.m. from the account of the President of the United States? Meanwhile, Melania Trump has taken a very different role on AI. While Trump pushes fewer AI restrictions and faster innovation, Melania has publicly warned about AI-generated deepfakes, manipulated imagery, and online exploitation targeting children and teenagers. That's the irony. Inside the same White House, one side sees AI as a weapon for dominance and unrestricted expression, while the other warns the technology is already becoming so...
I mean, I created my own 11 Labs created me talking. It even fixed my glasses. There's how many videos of Father R out there where they just made a clip of Sean Ryan's show and they have him talking to you. Those are, I mean, it just, and then wait a year. Wait for another year of this.
Lethal capacities, our ability to fight war, both because we've been doing it for 20 years, because we have meritocracy in our military, and because we finance it in a way no other country has, and because the AI revolution is uniquely American. It's like every company, all the model providers that are relevant, and the ontology that makes them valuable, and the chips that they run on are built in this.
I was looking up lavender here for you. There's more AI from there. Yes. Yeah, I was trying to get Operation Pro or Palantir lavender on there, but no on YouTube. Here's state regulation news forces from April 19th, a month ago. AI regulation fight grows as Trump opposes state level laws. A Utah Republican is pushing for stricter AI oversight, even as Trump's administration works to block state-led efforts. Doug Fifia, a former Google employee, said states should act now as Congress struggles to pass national rules. They can't pass national rules on this. And if there's a state that accepts it, you should kick that government out and put your own in, because that is a direct violation of the U.S. Constitution and their oath of office to protect your state. The White House argues the single federal standard is needed to stay competitive with China and avoid conflicting laws. That's directly against federalism, 100% against federalism right there. Makes a blanket statement, and then it's just pretty much a power grab, taking over, avoiding states. You want to talk about communism? There you go. More than 1,000 AI bills are under consideration across the United States as concern about the technology continues to rise. We don't help ourselves in that because we do this whole one country, one nation thing. So that's the bad thing about it. You get in this one nation idea, false. Read the Declaration. We're about to celebrate 250 years of the Declaration. Read that last paragraph. What does it say? Free and independent states, which the Treaty of Paris ended up putting on the same par as England. Each of them, the state of Virginia, equal to England. They were not, they did not, Lincoln did not, 400 and some years ago, we created a nation. No, there was no nation created. No. And that's a communist idea. Frederick Engels had this idea of one nation. The one nation myth is an Engels dream. We're playing into that. We play in it every time I pledge allegiance to it. I never say that socialist thing. No Catholic should ever say a socialist pledge. Again, and especially one that's a centralist, nationalist thing that's against that's going to make things worse. Let's see.
Signed a new executive order on artificial intelligence, saying he doesn't want government action to slow America's lead in the global AI race. The signing ceremony had been expected.
Yeah, that was the one we just talked about. This data center thing. Yeah, and again, Leo comes out with this AI thing, with the AI Encyclical, and again, it shouldn't have been 200 pages. He could have just focused on it. He didn't need to bring up slavery, didn't need to bring up modernist thing, didn't need to bring up all this other stuff. The focus is the AI and the technocracy. That is going to be what's going to take a lot of people down. The modernist stuff, you can get away with just not, you can ignore the modernist stuff. It's like, it's the gobbledygook we've heard before. Skip it. The AI stuff is the important stuff. Unless we're that weak and we can't figure out what the modern stuff is and stay Catholic, and we just read something and go, well, we just, I don't know what to do. We should be able to know what it is. Matthew, you know how you do that? Decentralize and create your own place. 1861, the state of Georgia declared itself a Christian nation. How hard is that for us to do now? We just don't want to do it. There's a lot of guys that talk about, hey, we need to run for president. You need to run for mayor first. You need to run for governor maybe. And that's it. Forget DC. Anybody that runs for DC and they say, "Oh, we're going to fix it." You're smoking something, and you're I don't know what you, and whatever you're smoking, just pass it to us, because that's a worthless idea. Even voting for anything on the federal level is worthless.
Of national intelligence, Washington is already erupting with questions. Did she really walk away, or was she pushed out? Gabbard says that she is leaving to support her husband through what she called an extremely rare form of bone.
It will never happen. One, because
compassion for that.
No one's gonna let a secessionist get into DC. One, that would never happen. Two, you have to pretty much have the millionaires behind you and the oligarchs behind you. No, they would never. Now, mayor, yeah, I could do that, and I've thought about trying that down the road whenever I finally get a house. State house seats, things like that. Definitely looking to get people in. I was trying to help a guy in the last gubernatorial race who was the outsider here in my area. He was running for governor, and I loved the guy. I found him late, and I said, what can we do to help? Outside of that, just trying to find more people. What needs to be done is more of us getting activated, more of us getting involved and activated in the issue. If we don't get the numbers, we can't do anything with it. Here's just announced the lineup for the Great American State Fair is here. It's like bringing the hits. Martina McBride, Young MC, CNC Music Factory, no idea. Vanilla Ice Baby, Milli Vanilli, the Commodores, Morris Day and the Time, Flo Rida, and Bret Michaels, and many, many more. National Mall, Washington, D.C. This is like Coachella for boomers. Who wants to get their grandkids to fight wars for Israel? Here's a more perfect union. A judge has ruled that corporations can vote in some Delaware elections. What? Delaware Supreme Court, Superior Court Judge Craig Karnitz, who is pretty much taken over by aliens, said the town of Fenwick Island was not diluting human votes by allowing companies and other legal entities that own property to cast votes in municipal votes. Church says Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution is in designating who can vote for a Congress. Critter says by the people, and no person shall be elected. This will never come to fruition, and is just another reason why the judicial corruption in all 50 states will lead to revolution.
A federal investigation, agents seizing vials of unknown liquids and probing a potential link to a Chinese national accused of running a similar lab in California that held deadly pathogens. Our senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is reporting live on this out of Los Angeles for us. Hello, William.
Well, Sandra, two amazing things about this story. One, the man who owns that Vegas lab, he's a Chinese scientist linked to the CCP, is and has been in jail the last 3 years. Secondly, the lab is not an FDA licensed facility, but it's in a house in Vegas, raided Saturday morning by the FBI, SWAT pulling out boxes of what police believe are hazardous biological agents and pathogens, normally found in a secure university or industrial lab with airlocks designed to
Found blood and tissue samples testing positive for the Rona, hepatitis, and malaria. As Douglas McGregor says, Trump's DOJ drops federal charges on Israeli citizen accused of running Biolab in Vegas. Federal charges surrounded the possession of federal firearms. Trump to ship potentially sick Americans to foreign country. This is Trump administration decided to send Americans who have contracted Ebola into Kenya instead of monitoring their health and treating them as needed in the United States. Send them to Kenya. Virus alert: Ebola breakout to be the deadliest on record. Aid chiefs fear as travel bans as travel bans spread and disease spins out of control. There's got to be a song I call it "Out of Control." I just can't think of the "Out of Control" the lyrics to "Out of Control." Uganda closes its border with the Congo, where suspected cases of a rare Ebola type are surging. What is this? New York Times. Oh, yeah, China is testing its state surveillance model abroad. When a remote Pacific village asked for help with rowdy youth, the Chinese police arrived with a surveillance system. Then came backlash. What could go wrong? By the way, if you ever read The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab, it is China versus the United States. That's why if you keep hearing China, US, a tug of war. We're in the Great Reset. We're in the middle of it right now. 2030 is the finish line. Rare Ebola number 1,000. Yeah, but yes, all serious. Lord have mercy on them. Yes, yeah, 100%. Jill Biden says she was frightened by Joe Brandon's 2024 debate performance, thought he was having a stroke. Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. Polymart says FBI is raising anti-tech extremism, warns of rising anti-tech extremism as opposition to AI and data centers intensifies. Owen Shorey writes, why do you think the administration is prioritizing anti-Semitism and anti-tech extremism? Because the only true priorities of the administration are Israel and turning America into an AI data center surveillance state. It's so obvious that to deny it is to be blinded by your bias. Hold on, surely Trump has not talked about doing something like that, right? He has talked about that in Don't Call Me Shirley. Waiting for the... I thought I was going to have that timed out just right. And obviously I did not have that timed out right. And let me get where is he at? From 2016. Come on. You guys know what I'm about to play. If I can find it. I thought I had it. Must be up top. Did I pass it? There it is. Yeah, it was the second one.
Finally complete. The biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Yeah. All right. Remember this? This is from where's it? Derek Bro, Stargate, January 24th, 2025 article. Day one, Trump 2.0. I keep bringing this up because no one else wants to bring it up. There's Trump with Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, all those guys. President of Altman, Ellison, and Elon Musk and other technocrats like Peter Thiel should be a signal to those who value liberty that MAGA has become the home for a faux populist branch of big tech. On Tuesday, President DJT stood with the heads of SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle to announce investments of $500 billion for new AI company called the Stargate Project. Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI. Trump stated in the press conference that happened the first darn day of him in 2.0 office. And you have 0.0 of anybody in the Catholic sphere bringing this up. Rick and I brought it up. If there's another one doing it, I've told people, I've sent them the link and they still won't bring it up. This has been in the works before day one. There was no vote. There was no election that was going to happen. He was going in for this purpose. Obama created it, gave it to Brandon. Brandon gave it $100 billion. Trump takes it over, $500 billion. As he's talking about having people going to be on their best behavior. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. U.S. citizens stopped in Lafayette, shackled and detained in Louisiana ICE facility. A U.S.-born woman presented ICE and Lafayette Sheriff Departments with her state-issued ID and Social Security card. ICE detained her anyways. On Wednesday, ICE detained a U.S.-born woman at a checkpoint in a residential area of Lafayette. The young mother of four is Spanish-speaking and was already anxious as she approached the checkpoint that morning because her baby daughter was spiking a high fever. At the agent's request, she showed her ID and Social Security card, but they called it fake, and she was detained, handcuffed, shackled at the ankles, interrogated, and ultimately transported to South Louisiana ICE Processing Center in Bazille. Wonder what happened with the kids. ICE held her there for about 5 hours, away from her sick kid, and released the woman about 2 a.m. after the lawyer intervened on her behalf. The woman asked her that her name not be published in fear of retaliation against her and her family, probably. She was born in Colorado, but she had feared that ICE might stop her daughter, who is Mexican-American.
In the hundreds of billions of dollars. I believe, based on what I've seen and what I've heard, is that we could balance the federal budget if the only dollars that went out of the Treasury went to individuals who were properly, lawfully, correctly eligible to receive them. And that ultimately is going to be what we have to do as a country. In the meantime, because of the vice president's leadership, you are seeing the most muscular, robust, aggressive, dedicated, determined, and speedy effort to shut down criminal fraud that has not only ever occurred in the history of this country, but in any developed nation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not a bottom.
As Catherine Arstafis, and what about the $21 trillion missing from the HUD and DOD, Stephen? A bit more massive, don't you think? Here's the Libertarian Party talking about in March, the White House shipped an official app that promised Americans a direct line to the president. The app carries a full GPS pipeline built to fire your exact coordinates every 4.5 minutes while you use it, and every 9.5 minutes while it sits in your pocket doing nothing. The app also, oh boy, it brings the person's personal code to GitHub account. If that account is ever compromised, whoever takes it can run code inside the app, while the White House told millions of people to trust. There is no certificate pinning, which means the traffic can be intercepted on any sketchy coffee shop network. And when you tap the link inside of it, the app rewrites the page hidden in the browser in code, and that strips cookie banners, privacy notes, and paywalls off every site you open. There's also a button that reports your neighbors to ICE in one tap, and a share feature that autofills the words "greatest president ever." 77% of his network traffic. Please make idiocracy fake again. Please. Wow, 77% of his network traffic goes to ad tech firms, data brokers, location resale markets, exactly the pipes ICE and CBP have spent the last decade quietly trying to bypass warrants. None of this has malfunctioned. The location pipe, the third-party traffic, the constant strip browsing, the snitch button, and this is the app working exactly as designed. The surveillance is the product. There is no line to the president. There is only a line out of your pocket. The state does not need to force the tracker on your phone when it can already talk to you carrying one. When it can talk you into carrying one and thanking it for the access. That is the oldest trick and the powerful have. Hand the people the thing that flatters them and let them install the leash themselves. Do not carry the state's app. This was never built to serve you. It was built to sit in your pocket and watch. And it told you so in its own code the moment someone bothered to read it. The only phone worth holding is one that answers to you and no one else. The White House app. And the Libertarian Party goes, we should not have to tell you not to install the White House app on your phone. Government that respects the Fourth Amendment does not ship a GPS pipeline through your ad tech. Government that needs a warrant does not buy the same data from the broker to skip the warrant. You get the drill. Hopefully no one has the app. Americans about to pay even more at the grocery store. Hey, can't wait. Tourists not entitled to free tap water, says Italian court rules. Decision ends a saga that began when customers asked for tap water during a stay at a 5-star hotel in 2019. You see, free tap water. Will you put a quarter in the sink? What happens there? No bug, all features. Yes. It's a feature. Enormous American flag draped over the Hoover Dam as Lake Mead endures severe drought. I just remember that being in Transformers. I have never felt so poor before. Inflation and higher gas prices are stretching workers to the limit. Take it to the limit one more time. Chris Massey stood at the jewelry counter last month, hoping to sell a couple of her grandmother's gifted pieces to possibly cover some bills. Even though Massey, a 57-year-old nurse practitioner, makes 6 figures a year, her financial situation has grown untenable. Years of fast rising prices and recent mouth slong about unemployment have taken their toll. She's trying to hang on. I should be fine, and I am not. Did Trump pick the right blue for the reflecting pool? We asked the pool guy. Old glory blue, American flag blue. Let's reflect on the shades. While a federal judge mulls aesthetic injury in the president's latest decoration flourish. We're not a serious people. There was a sphere down in North Carolina. They had a ban on using water. It started on the 15th here. The lake was extremely low. It's been raining literally every day for the last Wednesday started Saturday, Sunday definitely. So the last 4 or 5 days of nothing but rain. Today they had less rain, but a thunderstorm did go by. It's been pop-ups all over the place. I haven't driven over the bridge. We're still low. How about that? A $300 a month gym is Gen Z social club. What? Who pays $300 for a gym? Swipe right for sperm inside the murky world of app donors. There's literally an app donor for sperm now. The Daily Fail will have to blow them up. Trump threatens to bomb U.S. allies, sparking confusion in the wild cabinet meeting. It was talking about bombing Oman. Okay, it does say, but Israeli Minister Ben Gvir says Trump's deal with Iran is bad for Israel and that Israel will not allow it. Let that sink in. They will not allow it. Speak of, let's go to anywar.com. Governor, generals singing in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Zima Blue, come on. Man, I ain't seen a Zima in a long time. U.S. launches another round of airstrikes on Iran. U.S. launches another round of airstrikes on Iran. I thought we're back at war now. Trump says he will not ease sanctions on Iran as part of a deal. Trump threatens to blow up Oman if it doesn't behave. Israel strike on building in Gaza City killed 7. They're still on a ceasefire there. Hamas confirms Israel killed its military chief. Israel orders Lebanese city of Tyre evacuated. U.S. forces then placed to launch an attack on Cuba. Suspect U.S. or UAE strike kills children in Somalia. Suspected U.S. or UAE strike kills children in Somalia. Russia to target Kiev's underground bunkers. Oil prices fall more than 5% after Rubio says U.S. will give Iran talks every chance to succeed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said talks with Iran have made some progress. He said the U.S. will give diplomacy every chance to succeed. Rubio said Trump has also other options if talks don't work, and apparently referenced the newly military strikes. Trump, we're not satisfied with the Iran deal. Shocker. One day he says he is, one day he says not. That's all over the place. Just wait. Trump's Board of Peace fund is empty. Despite $17 billion in pledges, organization is stuck in limbo with no money flowing to projects in Gaza. Maybe they need to throw out like an invoice or something. Dave DeCamp, a suspected U.S. airstrike killed 3 children and a pregnant woman in northeast Somalia last week. I asked Afrikaan if it conducted an airstrike in the area that day, but so far, no reply. Let's see if he has anything updates on anything going on right now. Hour ago, IRGC says it targeted a U.S. airbase in response to the U.S. strikes. IRGC said it struck U.S. airbase in response to a dawn attack near Bandar Abbas Airport. The Iran's Revolutionary Guard said it struck a U.S. airbase at 4:50 a.m. in retaliation for the early morning American strike on the area near Bandar Abbas Airport using aerial projections. Kuwait missile reporting missile and drone attacks. Scott Horton, we've been bombing Somalia for 25 years. Yep.
Hormuz. Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, who will have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Well, Trump threatens to attack Oman if they don't behave. Oman will behave like everyone else, or they'll blow them up. Dave the Camp. I know it's Trump, but that's just crazy. Hey, what are we going to do? Well, they better behave, or we're just going to blow them up. Do what? I don't know how the guys next to him don't just go like, do what now? Squeeze me? In sports,
are tapping into the red shirt trend in delaying their start to high school. Our senior national correspondent, William Lajeunesse, is live from our West Coast newsroom. We're all interested to hear this. William?
So, Sandra, did your parents ever say, you better get your grades up, little lady, or you're going to repeat 8th grade? Well, now some 13-year-olds are doing it by choice, hoping to get into a better school, a bigger scholarship, or more NIL money.
I play baseball because I love the game, but it's cool to know that if I do what I love, I'll get a little bit of money out of it.
Carter Cancelleri is attending 8th grade a second time by choice.
It's given him an extra year to work on both his academic skills and his athletic skills.
15-year-old Carter is part of a growing trend of young athletes reclassing.
It's for students that are currently in 8th grade, and they get an additional year of middle school to delay their start of high school. Once you start high school, you have a 4-year clock, academically and athletically.
Michael Hatcher started the Elite Performance Academy at a public middle school in Orange County, California.
Kids can come in person and have access to 2 separate classes. One is a speed and agility class, and also a strength and power class.
After losing students to private schools, Hatcher decided to give parents what they wanted.
I'm witnessing more people doing it and doing it wrong, to be honest, or doing it loudly.
Consultant Shanae Howard offers families a reality check.
It's a 1% chance for them to go D1. 1%. For D2, 1%.
Of 8 million high school students in sports, only 7% will play in college. So far, 10 students signed up for Hatcher's Performance Academy. But across town, enrollment at this private sports program is booming. It's not cheap. Parents pay thousands a year at schools like this, but believe the investment is worth it.
Hopefully when I get to the MLB and I'm making a lot more money than $50K, I'll be able to pay him back.
Well worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. So skeptics say, given the odds of making it a D1 or any college sports, kids are better off concentrate, most of them, on academics. On the other hand, Sandra, right, the number one pick in this year's NBA draft, expected anyway, did 8th grade twice. So the point is there are options out there for parents who want it.
You know, I actually wish that, a long time ago, I wished I got held back just for 1 year. I could terrorize because I graduated Spartanburg High. It was, let's just say senior day we didn't have, because 2 of us graduated. There was 7 seniors. The rest were 20 years old getting GEDs. We were good. But the guy that started above me, we bailed him out of jail one time. Chuck Boozer, never forget him. He had a gold grill in his mouth. Him and I were good friends, but he told Phil Petty one time that if you elbow me again, they're going to find you in a ditch. I think Phil believed them, but those were the days. 1930, opening of the Chrysler Building. 2020, American writer and gay activist Larry Kramer died at age 84. 2000, Canadian ice hockey player Maurice Rocket Richard died at 78. 1994, the writer of Alexander Solzhenitsyn returned to his homeland. 1993, a terrorist bomb went off in Florence, damaging the wing of the famous Uffizi Gallery. 1977, the British punk band the Sex Pistols released their second single, God Save the Queen. It was quickly banned by the BBC. 1964, a former Indian Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, died in New Delhi. 1941, World War II, the British Navy sank the German battleship Bismarck. 1933, Walt Disney released the animated film The Three Little Pigs. 1912, American short story writer and novelist John Cheever, known as the Chekhov of the suburbs, were born. 1911, American Democratic politician Hubert Humphrey, who was 38th U.S. vice president and presidential candidate in 68. Liberal Senate leader, was born in Wallace, South Dakota. 1907, American biologist Rachel Carson was born in Springdale, Pennsylvania. 1889, the American Petrochemical Corporation South Penn Oil Company, later Pennzoil, was founded in Pennsylvania. 1819, American author and lecturer Julia Ward Howe, who is best known for the Battle Hymn of the Republic. That horrific. Remember I told you about how bad the Battle Hymn of the Republic is? There's the author. Who is best known for the insanely god-awful, horrific song, Battle Hymn. When I die, I want you to play Dixie after you get done with doing some Marian hymns. Dixie better be blasted. And anybody said, hey, Lincoln liked Dixie. Half the world, everybody liked Dixie until about 20 years ago. Don't even come around the hymn with the Battle Hymn of the Republic. 1703, founded this day in 1703, Peter the Great, by Peter the Great in St. Petersburg. It played a vital role in Russian history, and he especially known as seen in 1917. 1660, the Treaty of Copenhagen between Sweden and Denmark, Norway was signed, concluding a generation of warfare between the two powers, as well as helping the balance between Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Look away, Dixieland. There's multiple versions too. It's the pick up your arms, hurrah, hurrah, grab your arms and go to Dixie, hurrah. Speaking of, let me see if I can find that real quick. Battle Hymn. There it is right here. Understanding the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Written in 2014, Howard Ray White. It gets into it. I mean, it's a decent long read. Talks about Say Brothers, John Brown's body, praise of the terrorist leader. Then this is like glory, glory, hallelujah. John Brown's body is moldering in the grave. John Brown is moldering in the grave. His soul is marching on. The Battle of the Human Republic as first written. This was the John Brown song Julia Ward Howe heard federal soldiers singing as she, her husband, and other picnickers watched a review of federal troops just outside Washington City on November 18th, 1861. That was before they were disturbed by some Confederate soldiers who opened fire on outlying pickets and sent the picketers scurrying back to the Capitol. She liked the tune and probably did not know its origin, probably did not know that the man from the southern states had written it, did not know that the lovely tune had been composed by South Carolinian William Steff as a Methodist Sunday school and camp meeting song about 5 years earlier. It seemed to her that Massachusetts soldiers singing the John Brown song symbolized the glory of the coming of the Lord, although she felt meaning was tremendous. She felt the lyrics was trite and insufficiently inspiring. So that night and the next morning, the Willard's Hotel in Washington City, she wrote the first version of the new set of lyrics, which also drew upon the emotions surrounding John Brown's martyrdom. She titled her set the replacement lyrics, "The Battle Hymn of the Republic." Here is the battle hymn as she first wrote it. Notice how she opens the first person, witnessing to others about how those Massachusetts troops singing John Brown's soul is marching on had inspired her to believe she had seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the winepress where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightnings on the terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Blah, blah, blah. I have seen him in the watchfires, 100 circling camps. They builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. You see where it goes. And this version of Howe's lyrics was passed among some friends. Publication was arranged February 1st, 1862, issue of the Atlantic Monthly Magazine. On the front cover, no less. Before publication, Howe and others modified the words a bit. The published version became the official set of lyrics. Here is the battle of him as it published. There it is right there. So again, at this time, it is appropriate to examine the detail of the evolution and the meaning of the Battle Hymn Republic. Let's see. Howe and most of her friends were Unitarians and thereby embraced its free-thinking, pretend Christian theology, as was customary between Unitarians. Howe's belief in God and Jesus Christ, as presented in the Christian Bible, was rather confused with transcendentism, rationalism, and the doctrine of necessity. Such confused religious belief was commonplace among intellectuals who embraced the Republican Party. We need to understand this as we examine the lyrics. We also need to understand the remarkable extent to which Unitarians and Northern states Christian leaders from the northeastern states westward along the Great Lakes glorified John Brown after his gang's rather foolish terrorist attack at the Harper's Ferry Armory in Northern Virginia made him into a heroic martyr, even likened him to Jesus Christ. You may want to review that history as told in my epic history from the booklet as drawn Bloodstains Volume 2, The Demagogues. Understand what that battle hymn is saying. The words that first appear inspired the hearing of John Brown's song the previous day, especially the third verse. He's gone to be a soldier in the army of the Lord. It was there the previous day that mine eyes, that is Julia Ward's eyes, saw the glory. It is easy to believe that the martyrdom of Brown, that is tramping out the winepress and attacking with his terrible swift sword, John Brown's truth is marching on. You see the his is not capitalized. But the edited version of the battle hymn published in 1862, his is changed to uppercase H, his, to switch the meaning from Brown's terrible swift sword to God's terrible swift sword, since his begins the last line of the verse. We can't tell if he's talking about God's truth or John Brown's truth, but it's not hard to assume she means Brown. Anyway, if you want to see more, I'll put it in the show notes because it goes on for a little bit longer. Here's and why not sing Dixie too? Unlike the battle hymn, Dixie, the most popular song among defenders of the Confederacy, is a happy song about home. Yet Dixie is today effectively banned from public performance, while the battle hymn is embraced by a wholesome. Literally, if you score a touchdown in the University of Georgia, they play the battle hymn. Here's the lyrics: Dixie without the original minstrel dialect. Yeah. Including marks, there is Dixie, also called Dixieland, and I wish I lived in Dixie. Oh, that was from the references. We also remember that the federal invasion of the Confederacy in violation of the federal Constitution, which then did not disallow state secession, killed 360,000 federal invaders and 260,000 Confederate defenders. Thinking of those dead, what guidance should we acquire from our new understanding of Say Brothers, John Brown's Body, and the Battle Hymn of the Republic? Those are the other two songs that he brings up in the link. Anyway, so yeah, what was the other song? I was just telling you about a different version. Let me see if I can play that for you. I know it's here.
Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie, hurrah, hurrah. For Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms.
That's a cool. I like that. That's a cool version. To arms, to arms. Anyways, have a great rest of the night. See you Thursday for what do we do? Oh yeah, we do this on Friday. What do we call it? What do we call the show again? Clown Planet. It's late. I gotta get up early. We got somebody coming over in the morning. Anyway, good night. Have a great rest of the night. Oh yeah, I forgot. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Comment. You know the drill. Have a great rest of the night. Thank you for hanging with me. Hope you like everything. Check out the links underneath the show notes for all that. Spread it far and wide, north and south, all that anyway. God bless. Have a great rest of the night. And as always, thank you.